Sounds good.
record shit, and I'll chop it up into short. Hey, Drew Rebar, Auditing Reno 911, and I'm here with Matthew Winterhawk, who's running for Nevada governor.
That's right.
He's going up against the incumbent
Joe Lombardo.
Well, I'm trying to not say mean things.
Lombardo.
For me, Lombardo is kind of the lesser of two evils that I had to vote for last time. That's how I voted.
Well, I would give it that. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So, yeah. So, anyways, you're running against him.
Yeah.
For Nevada, and I'm just going to let you tell what you stand for, what you're for, what you're against, and try to get your name out there.
I'm for transparency and then auditing all 17 counties. The resounding thing that I've heard from all of the different walks throughout the counties was that they don't feel like anything matters, whether or not they vote, or like vote or do not vote doesn't matter. The outcome is the outcome, and it has been that way for a very long time. At least that's their perspective. Seeing that, and being on the inside for a little while, I could see how that could definitely be construed. I mean, the appointed and or bureaucratic positions haven't changed in 30 years, a good majority of them. So you're left with figureheads changing, maybe different monikers changing and their titles changing, but the people that are really running the meat and potatoes behind the forum and setting budgets and doing the real work behind Nevada, I mean, it's the same people. So it always feels the same. So for me, it's just transparency with those people.
Yeah, I see that. It's in my race. I've got the ex-DMV director going against me, and she is why I am what I am. And
right.
She was appointed by Sisolak, a Democrat, that's endorsed by Republicans.
How's that work?
Well, I guess since you're in a Republican district and that's where you live, you've got to run as what has a chance of winning. Because in my assembly district 40, it's Carson City, Story County, Southeast Washoe, and it's 8% majority Republican. If I remember my numbers right, don't quote me on that. But yeah, I think you're seeing the problem is it's not the party, it's the people that have been there forever that just keep getting recycled. Anyways, I'll let you keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's really a power structure, right? And the people that are actively engaged in what I would consider politics at this moment, they're all the same players as well. And it's learning that they're just really a power structure and they're not willing to move or budge off of it, even if the players are not getting work done and or having results or solutions for Nevadans. So seeing that, it's like, what does it matter if we have the power if we do nothing with it and we're accomplishing nothing for Nevadans? It does seem like we're continuing to sell out, though, piece by piece.
Well, it's all about the money is what I see. I mean, what I see is, okay, so we had Sisolak, we had Lombardo before Sisolak, we had Sandoval.
Gwynn.
And Sandoval's was supposed to be a Republican, but he signed tax increases. He signed the driver authorization card. And just so everybody knows out there, 14% of the population of Nevada has a driver authorization card. And what that is that's a driver's license for illegals. Because you can't prove your residence, you get a driver's authorization card. And a Republican governor put that into law to help the illegals.
Just recently at the 83rd special legislative session, because they opened special legislative session inside there with the 2/3 gathering between the Assembly and Senate, which allowed them to pass what they showed the public was SB 10, which showed them, limiting on corporate buying for housing. But behind the scenes, they passed Senate Joint Resolution 1. Well, Senate Joint Resolution 1 put mail-in voting into the Nevada Constitution. That's the initiative. And they passed it resounding. They didn't have any way to stop it because Republicans do not have the power within the Assembly or the Senate. And so they were just bam, bam, there it goes through. Now it just has to go through the next legislative session, and then it's on the ballot, and then it's just like this abortion thing. So they have a track record of sneaking things through in these legislative sessions by kind of dangling one thing in front of you and then hitting you with the punch behind it. I don't know if you noticed that about the special legislative session, but that's when it happened.
I was down there pretty much every single day, and I asked every legislator I could what the extraordinary circumstance was that caused the special session. What was the emergency that we needed to have a special session?
Yeah. There's
Nobody
not an
could tell
answer.
me. No, there was no emergency. It was we just needed to give tax breaks to Hollywood instead of tax breaks to Nevadans.
Yeah. And then bill after bill, watching people come and sit down, like SB4, watching Sandoval and the different entities sit down at that table and say, well, hello, Shark Tank. We're here to ask for this many millions of dollars for our project. That's what it was like watching. It was embarrassing for me as a Nevadan, watching them just kind of sequester millions of dollars out of a budget, forecasting for them to build university buildings on UNR and UNLV. I think there's like $404 million in that bill.
Well, and then the public wasn't even allowed to speak during public comments from a remote location. You
Correct.
had to be in person to give testimony to the people's house, the legislature. But the legislators didn't have to be there. They could vote remotely, but the people couldn't speak remotely.
Yeah, thanks to Danielle Gallant, who likes to throw that away. Look, I threw her under the bus the other day because of that, because had she not voted to forego the rules, which is what Yeager and them were doing to allow remote voting, when they didn't allow remote testimony. So it was just that thing. Oh, okay. So we're above the law because us as legislators who are preparing for vacation get to vote remotely, which was Hibbets and Kasama, were allowed to vote remotely, which made it, I think, a 2020 vote. I believe that was the case, which still forced it in. And then LaRue Hatch initially had thrown up it would have been thrown out from that initial stage had it not been moved forward with suspending rules to allow remote voting, if that makes sense. Yeah. There's like 3 different pieces that had to all go into play. And Yeager doesn't care because he's not going to be there next year. And neither does Hoodige, or how do you say her name? Howdige? Howdige.
I don't know. Okay. Then there's Kasama's not going to be there next time either because she's running for Las Vegas, or is it Clark County, whichever council she's running for commission.
Yeah, so you see this, and that was the thing. The people that were making the concessions that were really compromising Nevadans as a whole, or at least 16 out of 17 counties were going to be completely compromised. You could see that there was support in Washoe and Reno, which was kind of upsetting, but I guess they have some union ties from there that they could have sent down for the jobs in Clark County. I don't know. It was weird to see that because it's like, look, guys, you're getting loopholed too.
Well, what that showed me is, okay, so Lombardo was pushing this bill to transfer all this money out of state. And then what I call the uniparty people. So if you look at the makeup of state government and the electeds, you've got a lot of ex-cops, retired cops, retired government employees, and attorneys. And you don't really have any people running the government or elected for government positions that are normal, everyday people.
Correct.
I wouldn't be here unless the government screwed with me. That's why I'm here, because the government screwed with me. So everybody is in this little cabal that they're collecting their government paycheck. They've always been the rule makers in enforcing the rules against the people. And then they get into these positions of making the laws to enforce against the people. And so they come from this whole background of we are the rulers and you are the ruled. The rules don't apply to us, but they apply to you. That's my opinion on the whole thing.
It's a very one-stop shop, and that is for sure. And you'll definitely see that stuff. Like recently I was posting about DCFS and CPS and the way that runs, because they're almost incentivized to tear apart families, right? The same way in the ways that I'm trying to think of what else is comparable to that they do intentionally, like the division amongst politics to make sure that the rule and the power is kept in one area. The same thing. If it's good for them, they continue that path. And so tearing apart the family creates 3 income streams. Keeping the family together creates a 0 income stream. If that, like, now you got mother, now you got father, now you got child in a system. And after looking at all of these different case after case after case, and then going through 17 counties of people, and then having that being a normal thing that was told to me, like, you really got to go talk about DCFS and CPS and look into these different apprehensions for group homes. It's not so much the individual CPS and fosters, it's the ones that are group homing, and now they're going out there and pretty much just kidnapping kids so they can up their income, and they don't care what they're tearing apart families. And they're like, Elko's a huge one they were telling me about, so focus on Elko. And they're like, Pahrumph's really big, and the rural areas seem to really live on the DCFS CPS collusion. And
Well, the guy you got to probably talk to then is a guy named Michael Sternberg.
yeah, I just Father in Exile.
Okay, so you know him. He and I met through YouTube, and
Yeah,
he saw me, I saw him, and yesterday he and I did a little thing like this where he came and told his story, and it's
yeah, dude,
it's a screwed up story.
so then when you hear those, and you do, and that's the thing, is like, there are genuine great people inside of those systems that have a great heart that are there working for children. And the same thing, the systems exist initially to help and rescue families. DCFS, CPS, that's what it was there for: Division of Child and Family Services and Child Protective Services. They were not there to harm anybody. But what had happened is the money became a subsidy, became something to dig into, became budget line items inside of a state's budget, became, oh, we can increase this revenue. And poverty-stricken families and families that are just, they just end up dealing with that structure more often, as a result of it being something they can utilize for a budget, especially when states are suffering, right? They can reach into any and all pockets to kind of recover where they're spending out here and then shortfalling. Like Elko's budget just shortfell in their education, so their schools are closing. I don't know what the full resounding is, but I know that their schools definitely have no funding. Then there's Douglas County, had the same problem that's going on with their schools, are not having funding. So when their schools shortfall with their budget, what do? Who do they lean on? How do they get that money back? How do they cover the budget? So they're looking for it in other ways. And that seems
Well,
nasty, but that's what they're doing.
well, they collect more child support, which means the federal government gives them more money back on child. I don't know if anybody knows this, but every time somebody pays child support through the state systems, whether it's Nevada, Washington State, whatever state, the federal government gives the state money to implement those programs. So
That's
the
like a
more
60
money,
40.
yeah, it's huge, the amount of federal tax dollars that get paid into the state coffers for the states enforcing child support orders.
Yeah, last year alone, I think they said was $253 million. So $250 million. So it's an intense amount of money, and it's not something that they're willing to compromise. And then people who are working there, so say you're a caseworker, a CASA, or you're a guardian ad litem, or you're any of these different, like, you need your job, right? So you're not going to be working against the system. That's the thing that I keep running into with all of the people in a political light. I can't get people to step out of their light. Like, yeah, Winterhawk, what you're saying is right. Yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah, it's corrupt, but I got to have a job tomorrow. And that's the thing I'm running into everywhere. They're like, you're right. You keep saying it. Think you're so brave out there. And then, here comes the fire and the vitriol.
Well, and I've talked to some state employees because the area that I'm running for assembly in is Carson City, which is the capital, and so
Yeah.
I've got a lot of voters that work for government. And when I talk to them, like I had one gal, and one of my big things has been the DMV. DMV is totally corrupt. And I was out at the parade here last month or whenever it was for the Nevada Day.
Yep.
And a gal from DMV came up and thanked me.
Well, they see it, right?
So
They
they
just
see the
can't do
corruption.
anything. They can't do anything when they're in there.
And so what I asked her about was, I said, well, what if we made a law that fixed the whistleblower system so that government employees could turn in the bad government employees? Because right now the whistleblower system sucks.
Yeah.
There's so many hoops to jump through and so many ways for an employee to get caught up and to get screwed over when they try to get rid of a bad government employee, that they don't do that because they're afraid.
Look, our own government down here in Clark County, our own police department, our own district attorney, Mr. Wolfson, they literally set up child trafficking, sex operation and stings down here. And then because they caught their own people, whoops, I caught my own people that I invited here from Israel. He let him go. And then they tried to pin it on Sigil. Like, you have to understand the amount. Like, they're like, oh, no, not this guy. Oh, he's gone. He went back to Israel. It's like, wait a minute. You tried to sell a child for sex to him, did you not? Well, yeah. Why is he back in Israel? Why is he not here? Oh, because he was a diplomat and Steve Wolfson let him go, gave him back his passport. So the guy that is in charge of child and family services as a district attorney, child protective service as a district attorney, child support as a district attorney, let a child sex trafficking, literally convicted, took the child at reception and says, okay, go. See you later.
It's not just down there in Las Vegas.
Oh,
You
yeah.
saw the
Oh,
Reno.
yeah. Yeah. I just saw that one. It was a couple months ago. Yeah.
So here's a former Reno
What is this all
deputy
about?
chief. They're all
Are they child trafficking through these industries?
well,
Some of them are, obviously.
um, I've got lawsuits against the library and the local LGBTQ Our Center people.
Yeah, they don't like it when you go at the library because they want it to be open completely. They say they don't push it. That's the story, and they're sticking to it.
Well, that's the story. But let me pull something. Let me pull something else up here.
I believe you. I
Well,
just know.
I'm just going off of published stuff. So let me share this screen here with this again. Put this one back here. So it's called Build Our Center, which is our center in Reno.
Far left.
There's a lot of tax dollars that go to this, and I'm sure that the same thing happens down in Las Vegas because you guys have one down there too.
Yeah, I would
And they all kind of support each other. But if you go through this article, and this is from influencewatch.org, and you'll notice that they quote they link to our center's website, so you can go see it, and they've got a whole bunch of links to where they got this information from. But my biggest thing that really, really bothers me, especially with what we've just been talking about, is this part right here. Now for YouTube, we got to be kind of careful what we say. But this says, Scarlet Teen Queer Education is a youth program with which our center partners, through which teenagers and quote unquote emerging adults, children, take classes on, they take classes on. The classes provide information about how to perform a wide variety of acts and encourages children to engage in them.
That's pretty alarming, to say the least. That's going on right there. And you said I got that program here too. See, it's just another piece.
Well, I'm assuming they've got it down there because they've got what's the LGBTQ center down there, Las Vegas. And what I see is they're linked together. Here it is. I plop that one back up here. It's this right here, and it's pretty much this LGBTQ center. They're all centers. We
don't even have a community center for the actual community worth a damn.
Safe, welcoming space, LGBTQ. So, and all these things, what if you start digging into these 501c3s that run these things and start following where the money's at? Well, here's American Red Cross right there.
That makes sense.
So I would bet if you dig into where they get their money, I'll bet you the center down there in Las Vegas is getting a bunch of tax dollars, just like the one up here is. And the one up here is they're funneling, the state tourism is funneling money to them through a man named Bob Conrad that doesn't like me very much. Anyways, you keep. Sorry.
I'll say they just had the bill as well that had a couple hundred. Oh, there was a couple hundred million, or no, a couple million that went to Planned Parenthood that was wrapped in a bill listed as restricted businesses for abortions. So government-funded abortions was one of the bills that Lombardo just signed as well. So Mr. Conservative, just saying.
Let's see what one of the comments is. The mats are illegal. We use trucking industry to challenge this. The government deem that we can't use because they are not good enough for a good night's sleep.
Mats.
My eyes are bad enough. My glasses on. So Manitoba, Canada. Okay, here we go. This guy's from Manitoba, Canada. Multi-million-dollar office in Washington. Yeah. So same thing's happening up in Canada is happening here. These people are taking our money and using it for things that we may agree with or we may not agree with.
Well, you spend probably a lot more time in those offices up there than I do, but I think I spent a significant amount of time inside of like the AG's office, the SOS office. Like, there's really nothing going on inside of those huge buildings. Like,
No,
even
they're
like these legislative, multi-million dollars worth of legislative offices and hearing offices down here for each county in Clark County. I don't know if you've seen these down here yet, but they're massive, and there's nothing going on in that side of them either. These are big buildings.
well, look at how many people work for the government and how much money we're paying these government employees, because most of the government jobs, from what I've seen, are paying a higher wage than private industry can offer.
Well, yeah.
And then they get lifetime benefits once they pass the program. Whereas again, if you're working in the private sector, you don't get these things.
Well, there's a lot of people that term out as well. They get that full 12 years too. You got
Yeah.
12-year assemblies, full 12-year senators. Like, it's wild when you see that amount of years consecutively and successfully, I guess. I don't know. But
Yeah.
not successfully in term of delivering, but I mean successful in term of like getting the seat back and holding the same power again, and or moving to a new seat and retaining power.
Yeah. That's pretty much all that they do
That's what I've
is a
watched.
power grab.
And
And
then the closer you get to it, the more I believe that you're silenced, suppressed, and then attacked inside of your own party. There's just inside party attacks are relentless.
uh,
And
the Washoe County Republican Party is interesting.
they've been very kind to me. I can say that.
Well, they kick people out that don't vote the right way.
I think it would mean like if you don't align to actual conservative values or
Right.
constitutional values. Yeah. Like when
Yeah.
when I met with I think it was Mr. Parks a few months
Yep.
ago.
Bruce
Super
Parks.
nice guy. Had a great time. Sat down in the office, treated me like a champ, like a gent. Told me what was up. Said, "Oh, you're not fundraising. You're gonna have a hell of a time. I don't know what you're gonna do." And that was pretty much it. But outside of that, I mean, he was just like, everything you stand for, it's great. And look at this platform. I was like, I align with it probably about 97%. It's
Yeah.
pretty
No,
easy.
he's well, and I ran before, and you're trying to run without raising money. I'm trying to raise a
Yeah.
little bit of money this time.
Well, I hope they
Um,
give you all the money, Drew, because I don't need it. Give it all to Drew. Matt Winterhawk does not fundraise. So if you ever thought about giving me money, give it to Drew, because Drew needs to get
yeah.
that spot up there in Carson City. There you go.
Yeah. Well, the last time the incumbent spent $60,000 against me to win the seat, I spent like $1,000.
There you
So I
go.
pretty much did what you did. No money. I got one guy that gave me a bunch, $600 or so, and then the other money was mine. But I had what, I got 25% of the vote, so almost nothing by comparison. But what I looked at was how much did each. Well, hey, let me.
Like a
Thank you
cost
very
per voter.
much. Yeah, I had the lowest cost per vote out of any candidate that I was comparing.
Yeah.
Um, so it's crazy. You do need some money, in my opinion, from what I saw. However you're funding however much money of your own that you're going to spend on it. God bless you. Um, I think we need Lombardo is the presumptive nominee of the party just because they're afraid of losing.
Yeah. I
And
do see that.
that's what they're doing. They're pushing him because they don't want to risk losing to have another Democrat in there, because that's more fearful than anything else for the people that are running everything.
And you can see a guy like Aaron Ford right now. He's trying to sue the PUCN for the recent hiking of Nevada Energy's energy charge, the demand charge that they're going to add. But it's like, look here. If the man wanted to do these things, he should have done them long ago. He should have stepped in prior to the PUCN. There's three people inside of the Public Utilities Control for Nevada. There's only three people, two of which were there from Sisolak's era, still there, and one was I think his name Brown was appointed during Lombardo's reign right now. So these three people can make the choices to your gas, your water, your electric, all these bills being increased by these utility companies coming saying, hey, we want to have vacations next year. We want you to pay for it. How about that? And they're like, okay, approve, approve, approve. It takes three people and they approve it. They just did that with Nevada Energy. So now
Yeah.
they're going to hike this demand charge for all of Southern Nevada. I don't know, because you guys have a different electric company up there, don't you?
NV Energy's up here.
Okay, so you have NV. Somebody out
It's
there was
NV Energy North and NV Energy South, I think,
okay,
because for years North and South was divided by different companies,
correct.
and then Warren Buffett came in and bought them all up.
See, and then
Because
he also
Warren
he owns
Buffett owns
banks.
NV Energy or Berkshire Hathaway.
Oh, I'm part of his credit union and a couple different things. Like the man's brilliant, yes, but people don't realize, and I did long ago, that those utility companies are privately owned. They're privately owned, and then they have contracts. The contracts are managed by the city, the county, the state.
Government.
These are where your subsidies, your government, exactly.
They're
But when they're
quasi-governmental
shaking
organizations.
their fist and they're going, ah, Donald Trump, you made my electric bill more expensive. I'm just over here going, lack of education. Like, oh, this is hurting my brain, and I want to educate everyone inside the world to be like, look, it's 3 individuals inside of Nevada. Look up the PUCN. Go to every meeting available. Every time they talk about hike, you say no. They do it, guess what? They're going against the people. It's that easy.
Like when I was talking to Michael the other day, father in exile, and he's suing the Nevada State Bar,
Yeah,
which is basically a government agency. All of these agencies, whether it's the Nevada Transportation Authority, which is the agency that regulates my business, it's for sale, by the way. A&A Towing, if you want to buy me, call me.
there you go.
Excuse me.
Shameless plug, get the business.
Well, I don't want to run the business anymore because the government keeps screwing with me. And since I speak out, they keep screwing with me more and more and more.
Of course.
So I just want to go fix the problem that I've identified now. And I've run the business, raised my kids. So let's go do something else and give somebody else an opportunity to run that type of business.
Yeah, it's time for service.
But every single industry, every single thing you do in the state of Nevada to make money, whether you're a bartender and you need to get a police card, because if you're going to serve alcohol in a casino, the police have to authorize you to do it, whether you're going to cut hair, whether you're going to be a contractor, whether you're going to be an attorney, whether you're going to be a physician, whatever, whether you're going to sell cars at a car dealership.
Yeah.
Everyone makes you get some type of license, so you're accountable to the state of Nevada. And like you pointed out, that you got 3 people on these commissions and these boards that run these entities, and they can either take your livelihood away from you or give you your livelihood.
Correct. And then here in Clark County, you got 7, and then 2. I want to say it's 2 weeks ago, so it hasn't been that long. What's up, Endial Immunity?
Yep.
So 2 weeks ago, I want to say April Becker stood on her 10 toes of business and said no to the FRI tax. One of only 6 out of 7. 6 out of 7 said yes. Only April Becker said no, and April Becker also took the time to explain how it should have been a vote to the public, shouldn't have been left up to the commission. But what it will do is increase the gas taxes inside of Clark County 100%. So, and I experienced that the other day when I went to Nye County, which is 90 miles away. It was $3.61 for premium. When I just filled up today, it was $4.58 for premium. There's literally a damn near $1 difference.
Yeah,
and that's all because of the taxes that we add on to here.
Exactly. Well, it's like
that we add on, not Donald Trump, not Joe Biden, not George Bush, that we, our own commissioners inside of Clark County did.
Yeah. Washoe County did the same thing up in the north. If I go buy regular unleaded in Reno, I'm about $4.40 a gallon, or is it 4 or 3? Anyways, let me see. I'm $2.73 in Carson City.
Mm-hmm.
So that means if I go buy fuel in Reno, I'm going to be $3.40-ish, $3.50-ish, somewhere in there.
See?
Because it's all taxes. There's like an extra 56 cents per gallon tax.
Where do we put it? Oh, we'll put it on the gas because only the tourists drive cars. What? I agree. There you go.
Hey, Michael, how's it going? Aaron Ford is a kidnapper and thief. I sued him twice and took his immunity.
Aaron Ford went to Macron. He wanted to see Macron's underpants. I can't remember. Somebody put that the other day. It made me laugh so hard. It was on Facebook, and it was like an AI video. And he says, "Y'all suckers pay me $200,000 to fly to France to see Macron's underpants." It was this picture of Aaron Ford's face. It was hilarious. I'm about to send it to you.
So what corruption have you seen? Like I said, I became this going out and recording the government, putting it on YouTube and getting views, and then becoming a political candidate because I just see this problem that I want to fix. What things have you seen that you want to fix?
Well, you've got unincorporated townships, which are a great majority of Nevadans' land. And what happens in those areas where it's a county that's left up to control it, there is no actual city. Fernley was the last city that was turned into a city. I think it was like 2002, somewhere in there. So you think 2002 to 2025, we haven't had another city. So Pahrump, as large as it is, 55,000 plus residents, really has just commissioners over the top of it. And Pahrump, Round Mountain, Tonopah, so it's not just Pahrump, it's Nye County is really run by 3 commissioners. Now, how in the world is an area that literally is one of the largest counties in the United States, and its money is the lowest and the income is the lowest for like it's really a poor area? Shouldn't be. It's a mining area. Relies on that. It's got a ton of projects from BLM through solar projects. So it's just a misappropriation and bureaucratic override from these 3 individuals, and a matter of nepotism that has kind of kept an entire community, whether it was Round Mountain hating Pahrump and Pahrump hating Round Mountain and vice versa, and then Tonopah being caught in the middle. It's like watching them hate each other, but it's not them. It's their leadership and management, but everyone's too under the thumb because they're not. It is like the wild, wild west out there. So like the sheriff's department's in collusion with the commissions, in collusion with the different entities that oversee what they're operating and building. And then people don't really think of it because it looks like a city, right? You get in, oh, stoplights here, there's a commission office, there's seems like it, but it's not. It's just these unincorporated townships that are running pretty much very corrupt, non-transparent through the same operations. I don't know how long they've been doing it. I've only lived in the state since 2008, but when you walk in there, you could tell good old boys club doesn't even begin to cover exactly what's going on here. This is something where the residents that live inside the town itself or the county itself are so afraid to speak out because there will be retaliation. There
Oh,
will be harm done to them. There will be legal action. If they open their mouths, if they say anything, it's so I don't know. They say good old boys club, but this is like a violent recourse of action. Something will happen to you and they don't care. They'll sweep you under the rug because the media can shut you out, obviously, as
well,
I've made the
the
statement.
media does shut us out. That's why I started that, because I complained about my problems for years to the media,
Yeah, they
and
don't
that's
care.
what they did is they ignored me, and then I'm just going, well, how do I get the word out? And then I went and I published my first video,
This is
and
it. This is the
seven
only
thousand, yeah, 7,000 people watched my first video. I'm going, there's something to this.
and you have to keep up because I'll tell you this, like I go on X, I've got over 5,000 followers on X. I've got nearly 5,000 on TikTok. I've got 5,000 followers on Facebook. Nobody sees me. I've got an average of 27 impressions, 50 impressions, 100 impressions. Like if you talk the way that I talk against powers and you want things to be transparent and you want audits done and you want reviews done of government positions, you are immediately, they're like, nah, get this guy out of here. He is a problem. And I don't understand how transparency and giving the visibility to 17 counties to see the checkbooks and to see where the money's going in and out and why we're solving and why we have these problems and these issues, to really be able to point at the identifying body, like this person right here spent the money, or these people are the ones that retained and controlled the income and now it's gone. This is why Clark County has $10 billion budget and we're 49th. Like we have to have explanations. We can't just keep getting, okay, we got more money for us, guys. We got more money for this. We got more money for that. Cool. There's always money coming into Nevada, but nothing's getting better for Nevadans. And that is a resounding thing that's consistent.
Well, Nevada used to have some of the best roads in the nation.
Yeah.
Used to.
Yeah. Now it's a fund. Now it's a slush fund. There's lots of cones.
Lots of cones. Well, it's like the NDOT director, Joe Hart up here, was doing a report on, and Joe Hart, for those that don't know, he's part of mainstream media, KRNV. I don't want to give him a plug, but I just did.
There you go.
And I like Joe. I've met Joe a few times, and he seems to try to do the right thing. And he goes and digs up things like Nevada Department of Transportation. The director was driving a state car home, back and forth, running errands, spending spending taxpayer dollars in a car that she wasn't supposed to be operating because that's not part of her contract.
Yeah.
And she's
And
still sitting there. And then they started doing this audit, and I've tried to get the records of the audit, but they won't release those to you. And according to what Joe Hart's found, there's millions upon millions of dollars missing, just
well,
missing.
we rely on our bond ratings. Like that's a lot of people in America and in the state of Nevada do not understand how our budget is operated, right? That we operate on bonds. There are bonds, meaning we promise we will pay back this much to our investors, whomever it be, through Wall Street, whether it's Vanguard, BlackRock, an Elon Musk. They put the billions in for the economic forum to appropriate our budget. That's how it works. And if these bond ratings that are held inside of banks, if our rating goes down from AA plus, which I believe that's what we are, is AA plus right now. So we have a very high bond rating, even though our corruption rating is high, which falls into financial risk audits. Which fall like all these things fall into the bond rating, your educational rating and in your CCSD. That's why we have to continue to service these loans at such a high rate of interest inside of CCSD. Therefore, yeah, we got $10 billion coming in, but we're losing a lot of that in servicing loans, going back and forth between our bonds. See, they don't understand how it comes in. Yes, we have government funding and subsidy. Yes, we have a DOE, but there's also bonds and loans that they're taking out to facilitate new growth and or building or hiring or whatever the project happens to be. These loans are bonds. Well, these
It's called,
bonds can be affected very heavily by us actually coming through with real ratings. And that's why we don't get ratings. Like you said, you can't find an audit because if we could see the audit, those ratings would go from AA plus down significantly, which would cost the state tremendous amounts of money in servicing those bonds. The interest rates would go up immediately.
and the people skimming the money off the top on the state side wouldn't be getting their dough anymore.
Correct.
Let me preface something so I don't get sued. Assuming they're skimming,
Allegedly.
allegedly skimming.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's kickbacks somewhere.
There may or may not be.
Yeah. Why does it what? So in Reno, we've got one of the biggest homeless camps here that the government's funded, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Is that the CARES campus?
CARES campus. Yeah, we've got a 3 or 4 story parking garage for our homeless camp.
I got a CARES campus story for you. I got some weirdo from CARES campus the other day that like was stalking me for a minute, and then they just went off the reservation and blocked me. Like, so just saying, I just learned about this CARES campus the other day, and I was like, oh, okay, it's cool. They got a little homeless project up there. And this guy was following me every day, and all of a sudden he went off the reservation. I was like, where'd he go? Where'd he go?
Washoe County, Reno is importing homeless people from California and from all of the other counties in northern Nevada because we offer the homeless people so much stuff here. If you want to come here and get free stuff, this is the place to come because our county commissioners are giving up all the money.
It seemed like it was such a nice place. I mean, I think they were in there chilling. They had like little pods that they could kick it during the day. They had a whole huge campus to surround. I haven't seen it, but from what that guy's videos, it looks pretty involved.
It is, and actually the director, I think she just got fired or quit or mysteriously left or something like that. And she was making this huge money, and her husband is another government person. I think again. If I'm wrong, forgive me.
No, that was what I meant to compare earlier. That the CPS DCFS is a comparable to the homeless ring.
Yeah.
To bring them in, they're addicts you're treating. There's NGO, there's grant, there's 501c3s. There's just all this organizational money flowing, and then there's ridiculous amounts of money going to people, and then they just disappear, like you just said. Oh, yeah. Gone.
The money's all gone, and then the people that are going to work every day. What do they get?
Nothing.
They get shitty roads to drive to work on and bust their cars up. And then the government comes into their businesses and wants to fine them and take their money and bring them in front of these agencies that have no accountability. And again, why? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big racket. And it's turning into a bigger one. And I think that one as well has grown because it wasn't something that used to be so huge. Clark County did not have a huge homeless problem. I'm sorry, it didn't. Not till post-pandemic. After the pandemic, it started going wild.
Yep.
Like you could see homeless encampments everywhere. I was like, where are they coming
Well, in the sewers out in Vegas,
from?
in the waterways running under Vegas there.
Legitimately, there's a shine a light out there, and there's some people that are living. But the difference is here, like when they want to change, I'm going to tell you they want to change. As a person who very early in life had a homeless stint there as a young man, like I'll tell you, when you don't want to be that way, you're not going to live that way. So
Yeah,
it's almost like you could look at somebody, they're making that choice. And you're like, dude, you're making that choice.
you
They're like,
get up
no,
every
I'm
day, you go
not.
to work.
Yeah,
Go
get it
wake up, go to work, wake up, go to work, and figure out how to improve your situation.
every day.
And if the homeless, there are so many resources that there is no excuse not to do that, unless of course you're just staying high, stuck on fentanyl all day, which is a whole other problem.
But yeah, my thing with looking at where they're at, it's systems that are built like what you're just saying, like allowing somebody to sit at home on a subsidized system. They're doing it because it continues their voters. It continues the things to when they say we're going to fight for this Medicare or we're going to fight for these different things. Like that is actually reaching out to a particular set of voters that want the systems to stay exactly the same. So it's sad to think that subsidy is a way of life, but it is. There was a reason why we were told when we went to the wilderness to not feed the bears, because if you continue to feed the bear relies on you for the food source and does not know its natural instincts to hunt and or I don't know, natural instincts to have a job and put in as a normal society, whether it was civic duty or education or a laborious job or whatever it happens to be. People don't like the idea of responsibility, accountability, and ownership. And that is really what I run my campaign on: transparency, accountability, ownership, and just responsibility. It's a job, it's a responsibility, in my opinion.
So if you were to win, what would be the things you'd want to change, and how would you change them?
In my first 100 days, it's going to be mostly through executive orders and meetings through the 17 counties of stuff that's not on the books already through a statute that we can actually appropriate and get changed right now. So they actually have a list of it, not in front of me, and these are things that I have planned. Education as a whole, there's an amendment in 1956, one district for one county. I need to break that amendment immediately. So that's something that's on the list to do because it's allowed something like Clark County, 7,910 square miles to be ruled by one district. And that is where the $10 billion appropriation has not been broken down into these areas where it could be focused locally in like a north, south, east, west for the urban and the areas here. And I'm sure I don't know how many schools are up in Washoe. And that's the thing that I need to get a grab is to be able to understand where every district needs. It's not going to be all the districts that need to be broken up, but Clark County for sure as a school district, which is failing, which wanes on every other school district's resources inside of the state. That is exactly why it needs to be broken up, because once that monopoly that's inside of there, over 379 schools, once that monopoly is broken up and you're able to focus and see where the waste is and the bureaucratic waste and spending, you're able to reallocate those funds back into the general fund and state educational fund, which will allow more funding for the rural areas that have been suffering for years and years due to the weighted averages that allow the appropriations to come to Clark County. That's why everyone says, oh, only Clark County matters. Yeah, because 72% density of a population. That's the reality. And they're able to use autism and spectrum and disabilities and non-English learners as a disability for weighted averages against the educational fund, which pulls more of that educational fund to Clark County and doesn't leave as much for rural areas. So get the balance back to where all 17 counties are being taken care of appropriately and legislatively dealt with individually so that we can treat them like, what do you need, Elko? What do you need, Eureka? What do you need, Lander? What do you need, Douglas? What do you need, Washoe? Like one by one basis, and then to have everything ready before the biennium legislative session. So before the 2027 session, and then also before approving anything after the economic forum, which comes up pretty rapidly. They try to force the budget right away. As soon as you get into office, it's like economic forum, sit down, LCBU, developing the budget for 2 years. Like it's just, let's get it done. And for me, I need to be able to have that moment for them to actually pull the paperwork to me so that we can digest it line by line, which is my power as a governor to veto these items, and then find out when it doesn't make sense for Nevadans to cancel that budget, put that back into our general fund, back into the GO fund, and to not have that obligatory leaning on any of the counties and to use it in the resources. So I believe that we will be able to identify all of the waste inside of this state in the first 100 days to be able to eliminate a good majority of programs and to release those funds back in. Because right now, 2026, we will be sitting at a $49 billion overall debt, 17 county-wide, not the operational. So that's just unforgivable. We're raising to a level where we're hitting federal debt levels and or California's 280 billion in debt. I won't allow it. So debt, transparency, education, and with that, it's just this outroll of there's so many things to do. 4 years will never be enough. But to get all that going and to cooperate with all the departments necessary, it has to be done. We can't have this hitting the head thing. We have to deliver for Nevadans. And so I'll be, if it's the AG holding up a process, I'm at the AG's door. If it's the SOS, we're at the SOS door. If it's legislation, I'm in the legislative chambers until it gets done. Like,
what about state agencies? Because I think, in my opinion, that's where the real problem is the state agencies.
The appointed properties, everything that's inside will be reviewed within those first 100 days as well. So there's over 250 plus appropriated offices and appointees that need to be either reviewed. Like, so if they were there and benefiting during these times while Nevadans suffered, they're going to be removed. These offices are going to go up for election and we're replacing people. It's not even going to be a situation of were they good or weren't they good? When they were here during these times, they weren't good.
They caused the problems.
Correct. So that's something that scares the hell out of people, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, is because they're like, well, what will happen? How will you get competent people? The problem is we've had incompetent people who have hired boards, committees, and coalitions to run everything for them, but they've still taken the paychecks. So we're paying 3 times the amount of money instead of having one competent person that is a structural engineer or that is a infrastructure engineer or is an economic analyst that can, having the professionals that are in the right positions instead of having your buddy Tom who needed a job in the position catching a $300,000 salary.
Well, you said how many people are in these? How many agencies did you say there were?
250 different appointed positions currently in the state of Nevada.
So the governor appoints 250 people
inside of boards, and you can pull these up. So like the Southern Nevada Health District Board, the PUCN, those 3 operative, the county manager's agreement behind the commissioners is also part of the, like you can appoint, these are the candidates, and then they choose from your candidates. So, I mean, let me get the rest of this board up here. Board of appointees.
250 people.
Correct. And they're just sitting there.
And but the governor is supposed to manage these 250 people.
Yes. So there should be at least, like, think about like KPI, right? Think you put someone in a position, you have to understand, what does the position do? Okay. Are they facilitating that position? At what degree? Is it successful? Are they meeting the metrics of that position? So each one of those need to be analyzed, but none of them are. Right now, it's just the people are there. They can make the decisions, which literally they affect your lives every day as Nevadans. For one of the ones that I see is like the boards that are out in Pahrump. These guys meet at 5 o'clock, maybe in the afternoon. There's 3 of them. And what they approve will approve entire BLM solar projects for their area to override public lands, which will give the federal government more control of the public land. So like we're at 87 to 90%, right? These 3 gentlemen in Nye County can go, yes, and then write off another 5% of our land. That's how much power, but they're not elected. They're appointed. See the difference? Like how they're not, that's the thing that I'm trying to say is like, these people are the ones where it's like, I'm not mean to them. And I'm sure they have great intentions. Like they have a heart. Because when I did go to that meeting about a solar project in Amargosa, I was like, no. I was like, the answer is no. Do not do any more building until we have our land back. That was it. And I went to Trump and that's what I said. And they're like, okay, now that you put it that way, my opinion. And they all went, no, no, no. And they voted no on it. But now they voted yes on it this last time because I didn't go. I can't be there all the time. So like,
So what about getting rid of some of these 250 people that do all these things with these different agencies? Do we need all these stupid agencies?
And that's the thing too, is to look at that and to be able to also look at the agencies as a whole. So it's, you can eliminate that, which, number one, you're freeing up income, you're freeing up operations, and then you're going to put competent people inside of positions that have not had competent positions probably 20 years. I'd say 2 decades or longer,
At
easily.
least.
And once you start to get, and it could be people that, it could be people that have only been here for the past 10 or 15 years, but they're very competent. What I want in there is meritocracy based and Nevadan based, meaning you care Nevada first, always. That's what matters. If you're a state executive or you're a legislative representative for Nevada, not a congressional, then you need to always, at all times, be nothing but Nevada, in my opinion. So those same things with the appointed positions, if you're going to be in there making these decisions, you need to be someone that has a reason, like, I almost say lineage, but that type of dedication to the Nevada. You have to care deeply, and this is your home. Home means Nevada. Those people need to be in those positions because they're going to make the right decisions and not sell out, in my opinion. Right now, you've got people that just compromise it. They sell it. They don't care.
And as long as they know what the Constitution says and they try to do what the Constitution says, as opposed to
Yeah.
what we've got going now.
Our 19 articles and our 112 amendments that we didn't want in there in the first place of our own Constitution, backed up by the federal Constitution. If people would just understand these things and literally stand on those, because pretty much everything that you, it's like, if you don't agree with line number 2, refer to line number 1, and line number 1 is the Constitution. Like, go back to this. When you don't agree with anything else we're talking about, let's go back to the Constitution. And that's what it was supposed, that was meant to be. It was a document to go back to when you had these disagreements. Oh, it's not in there? Cool. Well, then it falls under the 9th Amendment. It's something that's not in the Constitution, but you have a right to do. And if you feel I shouldn't be doing it, then you're going to have to rule against it. Understand? It doesn't mean, those were the things, supreme law of the land, but it's definitely been overridden, misconstrued, misinterpreted. And you've got people, which Father in Exile knows, like an Aaron Ford, who they write attorney general's opinions that override statutes and override, they write a piece of paper and it overrides laws because they're the supreme law, right? They're the attorney general. And that is a problem. When a guy himself, I believe he had like gang violence charges as a young man, and allegedly, and $184,000 IRS tax, allegedly, that was just wiped clean so that could serve in Senate and then serve as the AG and then now run for governor. So, I mean, that's just the type of stuff that we're up against, that it is a good old boys club. It's the same old people. They're shifting positions. And it seems like, oh, they don't like each other there, but I feel like they'll be at the Christmas party at the governor's mansion. Like, if I was to go to Susan Ruck's party, I'm pretty sure that I would see the same people there. I'd be like, wow, people that don't stand each other are sitting right there sipping these, these drinks that I don't drink. I don't drink, by the way. But when I go to those events, every one of these Republican Party events I go to, they're knocking them back. They are getting wasted. So they like to talk too, and they forget they talk to me. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, it's what I've seen is, like you said, with Mr. Ford,
Yeah.
Mr. Sisolak,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lombardo, Mr. Sandoval. What was the old AG's name? He was a Republican too.
People keep saying that. I always forget his name.
And anyways, what I see here is it's this group of people that all know each other, that are all interrelated. They may have different party affiliations. They may have some slightly different beliefs, but ultimately, when it comes down to spending the money and getting the money, well, if it ain't about the money,
They seem to be like this. Yeah, it's no problem.
yeah, it's like I said, the ex DMV director was appointed by a Democrat. She's in that party, and then she now is all of a sudden a Republican running for office.
Well, they're
How does
allowed to
that
switch
happen?
parties.
Yeah, and she's backed by the ex assemblyman whose spot she's trying to take. That I'm racing against her, but she's also backed by Congressman Amade. So I
Well, you
just watch.
see, You see a
Yeah,
bunch of endorsements going out right now. So Lombardo's endorsing just about everybody.
yeah. I
And
don't think he'll endorse me.
well, and then the teachers unions endorsed him. So for Clark County parents and Clark County voters, that is something that's not sitting well with them at all. And he's not even like, he's not receptive. He's not picking up on it. He's like, yeah, CCEA endorsed me. Clark County school districts are endorsing me because I'm education first. And it's like, no, they know what you're wrapping into. They know that you and Superintendent Joni Ebert and Wakefield or whatever his name is, the new superintendent, which is the old superintendent, was working with Joni Ebert during the pandemic days, placing mentorship teachers inside of schools,
Like you
unqualified
said,
teachers. They're all related. It's like a bunch of friends. They just hang out and look. $385,000 to run Clark County School District. That's what Ebert's getting right now. That's a large salary. I don't know what that's comparative across the board, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the largest in the United States.
well, we just got a new county manager up here in Washoe County. I fought to get rid of the old county manager for a bunch of last few years, and finally he went away. Now we got a new one, and I've already got her. She's already lied to me. I went and asked her some questions, and I recorded the interaction. And she said she'd do some things, and of course she didn't. But it's like you just said with what that school district is paying out. Washoe
Yeah,
County is paying this county manager. I think she's making more money than the Clark County manager.
I can confirm 385 base salary Joni Ebert. I can confirm 160,000 for assistant superintendent, which I believe she may have stepped down from that position due to scrutiny. Darlene Delgado. I'm not 100% on that. So 385, 160. That's two positions right there. What they're spending per student, $9,400. What they get in a budget, $10 billion. That that says it all. There's nothing else to say. The teachers are losing. The students are losing. The teachers are being assaulted physically and sexually and every other way. The students are being assaulted physically, sexually, and every other way. There's not a win right now, except for if you're an administrator or in government with the education, well, then you're winning. It's great for you. You get to indoctrinate children. And I'm sure that if you don't care about children, you're just taking the job, which a lot of these educators, not all of them, but a lot of them seem to just take the job just to have the job. They're not there to educate children. They're just, oh, how much is it? Cool. You're bumping me up $1,000 this year. Fantastic. I'll be there and I'll teach them this nonsense out of this book that tells them that there's 52 genders, and
Yeah,
they're
bullshit.
willing to do it.
Bunch
And
of
that's what's
just
sad.
a
They're,
bunch of
but
crap.
there's good people that are caught up in there too. Good people caught up in the education system, but same thing exists. It's like when you want them to bring it down, it's like, look, you're gonna have to come out and whistle blow. And they're like, I can't.
Yeah,
If I
because
whistle blow, I can't.
I've got a good friend that works in government, and this is what he's told me. He goes, I can't do anything because if I do anything, I'll be the one that's persecuted. I'll be the one that loses my job. I'll be the one that loses my retirement.
Correct.
I can't. I just have to sit there and watch this bullshit happen.
Yeah.
And so you've got a lot of government employees that are really good people that know that what's going on is wrong. And when they see things, they can't stop the problem because, well, then they can't pay their bills. They can't afford to feed their family and raise their kids.
I was removed from a certain announcement by guys that I've actually sat down and gone to do ride-alongs with and supported their law enforcement. But then they're telling me like, hey, Winterhawk, we got to have you leave because you're not allowed to be here. And I'm like, I'm public. I'm a taxpayer. It's a public event. And they're like, nah, you got to leave. We're going to have to trespass you. Had me stand off of school grounds at Rancho. I was like, are you serious? I can't even be here. Just my mere presence is so threatening. But I mean,
take a camera with you.
I was recording a good majority of it, and then Facebook hit me with this video is being deleted. I didn't know they started doing that. So they just like delete your live videos once in a while. They give you a notice. They give you an opportunity to download it, and then they say,
yeah, they give you like 30 days on there, and then they'll delete it.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, all I can say is record it and.
I mean, but what do you do with it then? I mean, even watching you, my heart breaks sometimes because I'm like, this guy is all he's doing is recording. He's just putting people on it to look. If you can't talk in front of a camera, then you got bigger problems.
Well,
If
go
you're
away and
that
don't talk.
afraid of what you're like, transparency with me helps me sleep at night. They always ask me, like, how do you sleep so easily? You just lay your head down, you go to sleep. I'm like, I have no dirty conscience. I just go to
Yeah.
sleep.
If you don't got to worry, you don't got to think about it. If you're doing the right thing, you don't got to think about it.
Yeah,
If
if
you're
you're on
doing the
camera,
right thing, you don't got to remember what you did because you did the right thing. You'll know what you did.
and if you make a mistake, people make mistakes, own the hell up to them.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing too. In government, one of my first things, I'm sorry, Nevada, we screwed up as a government, as a whole. And they're like, but you didn't, you just got in there. I'm like, but I have to say it. We screwed up as a whole. We're going to audit all 17 counties. You're going to see it all. It's going to be on a digital checkbook. You're going to watch it all. You're going to see transparency through every department. We're going to review every appointed position. We're going to, like, together, not like Hakeem Jeffries, not together, but together as Nevadans. That's exactly what I plan to do, and it's Nevadan first with everything that I do.
Yeah, that's how it should be, man.
I'll be that guy standing in the crowd. Yes, you are all wrong. If you've seen the meme where it's like all the people on the outside, I just still stand there. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I got to get going, man.
No, I appreciate it.
My neck is starting to kill me.
Hey, don't let it.
I got rear-ended a while ago by a truck, and
Ouch.
sometimes you just start to hurt. You anyways.
Well, I appreciate
Stop
the
me.
outreach and saying what's up.
Yeah. Well, let's go on again later and keep. I just want to get everybody's word out there and the message out there.
I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me use your platform.
And I'll cut you up into some shorts, and I'll send you some shorts. And if you want to publish them, you can publish them too.
There you go.
Because I think. Whoops. Where's the right? My dog's trying to get my attention here. There we go. There's
Sue, the pro se. Look, I got Gloria Sturman, and she just she dog walked me all the way down with my pro se case. I'm still sitting in the middle of one with her right now. These judges, they know all the tricks in the book to keep you spending your money on filings and showing up to court for them to continue it for another, like, especially if you ever get to corporation.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm pro se.
Yeah, I am too, because it's just $3.50 instead of $350 for the $3.50 filing.
Exactly.
It's a lot easier with the Odyssey system and being, knowledgeable.
Yep.
All right, appreciate you.
Signing off. Good night. We'll talk to you later.
See you later.